right, well today it's my pleasure to talk to Frankie Raymore and Tony Fish, the keyboardist and the saxophonists, respectively, of Frankie Raymore and the Groovemasterz, who will be playing at the Pigment Gallery at the Melwood Center on Sunday, October 30th at 7 p.m. as part of the Louisville Jazz Society's signature series. Well, welcome, gentlemen. It's great to sit down and talk to you.
Thank you for having us.
Jazz Society, being really pleased that the Groovemasterz will be playing as part of our signature series, and really looking forward to the show. So I'm going to ask you a little bit about your backgrounds. So can you tell me a little about tell our members a little about your musical backgrounds. When did you guys start playing? And
early, just for myself, just very early, just started playing. Probably 7th grade.
And it was saxophone right from the beginning?
Yeah, so I loved saxophone from the beginning, and always, and just kept playing. Just kept playing, never stopped. Never stopped.
How about you, Frankie?
Well, I come from a musical family. My grandfather was classically trained, and he, from South Carolina, he played all the dinner clubs down there. And, my mom and dad are both musicians. My mom's brothers and sisters were all musicians. All my children are musicians, and so. But my beginning was played at home, playing around a Hammond organ. We didn't have a piano. We had a Hammond organ that I picked at. Picked up the saxophone at 10 and played throughout elementary school up until high school. And then it was sexy back in them days to play saxophone.
That's why Tony did it.
Yeah. So, but I played piano in church and organ in church. And so I finally decided which one I was going to do. And I'm a keyboardist.
Cool.
Yeah.
So what are your primary musical influences? What were you listening to when you picked up the saxophone? What were you listening to when you started playing the organ and the keyboard?
Well, when I first started playing, I started listening to Ronnie Laws. Back in the day, commercial players. Ronnie Laws, Grover Washington.
Oh, yeah.
David Sanborn, Boney James, those type of players. And then as I got older, I started listening to, like Sonny Rollins, and trying to listen to Charlie Parker, and just those influences, trying to make those influences into what I do. Right. And, just trying to get that together, and still working on it, so.
It's a never-ending process.
It's a never-ending process, and I always just try to stay humble, and I think when you stay humble, you got room to grow. You always got room to grow. So to me, everybody's better than me. I just play. That's just what I do.
How about you, Frankie?
Jimmy Smith.
Oh, yeah.
Jack McDuff. Oscar Peterson. Dave Brubeck. That's all I heard around my house, in the 60s and 70s. And then, well, not of late, but I became a Jeff Lorber fan overnight. And so I pretty much incorporated a lot of Jeff Lorber into my playing, because I love the way he played. George Duke, even now, I can't think of what's the name, Pieces of a Dream, James Lloyd. And so those are my, most of my major influences, that I've gravitated to. Jeff Lorber being my #1 idol, I really, I kind of stole some of his stuff, and I use it, playing gigs and things like that.
It's an homage. Joel. You're
Yeah.
not stealing.
Yeah.
It's an homage.
You're borrowing it.
Yeah.
So you said earlier we were talking that you're church musicians. How much influence did playing in a black church have on your playing?
A lot. You get your... Well, he's been playing church longer than I have. So much longer than I have. I started playing probably in the last 10 years in church. So, it's a good experience, and a soulful, and everybody really accepts you well, and it's a good thing, and it keeps your chops up. You're playing every Sunday, and it just helps with all the other gigs that you got, so it just works out,
Right.
Well, as for me, I started playing in church probably about 12 years old, and back in the 70s, back in them days, gospel music was really traditional. And Andre Crouch, and he influenced me a lot with his way he was writing music back in them days. But I couldn't stay there because I love jazz, you know. So I started mixing jazz with gospel music, and you know, you'd see the deacons in the front row looking at me like this, you know, and what are we don't play that kind of stuff up in here. But I couldn't help it. Those are my influences, and I incorporated that into my technique of playing. And so pretty much, you know, as the years went on, especially when I moved here in 1985, and as far as gospel musicians were concerned, Louisville was very traditional. And so I actually played for Black Diamond Choir when I first moved here. And I incorporated a lot of jazz chops and chords and stuff into the music, and it caught on. And that's all you hear around here, you know. And so I'm not going to consider myself a pioneer, but I think I was instrumental in helping that happen.
Cool, cool. So how did your band, the Groovemasterz, come together?
It's kind of funny. Tony had a group. When I first moved here, I went to Joe's Palm Room like the second night I was here, and I heard Tony play with the band, and I knew this is where I belonged. So I just watched. He had his own band, and it took me a while, about 1990, to form my own band, and I told you about that earlier, up at Othello's, and a young man named Floyd Buckner, he's now deceased, and a bass player from Lexington, Kentucky, Darren Sills. We started a trio, and we were, I guess, trying to compete with Tony's band, which we never could. So you know,
Oh no, they could.
they had the full complement of guitars and sax and you know things like that. So we just had piano, bass, and drums. But yeah.
They was killing it though. They were killing
And so, but me and Tony became friends, and he would come pick me up. I was just talking about it to my son earlier today. We went to a trailer over in Indiana, over by the casino, and this guy had a studio. Tony wanted me to help record some songs that he had written and stuff, and so it sounded great. I mean, you know. And so, but we continued on until probably about, I'd say about late 90s, not about 99 or 2000, we started playing together and been playing together ever since.
Haven't stopped.
Yeah, I don't, you know, I've had guys approach me about playing. No, it's the me and Tony show. We've been playing together for a couple decades now.
It's like a ball team. I
Right.
mean, we know each other's moves.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And we fight a lot, you know.
Yeah, we do.
We fight
Like
a lot.
brothers.
Yeah.
Just like
Sounds like a bad marriage.
I didn't want to say that, but that's true. We fight a lot. We get along. Next day we forgot what happened yesterday. You know.
Yeah.
And we just keep rolling.
That's part of the spark, though, isn't it?
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just love doing it, man. You know.
So you tell me something about some of the other members of the band?
We have a Louisville legend, Doug Thompson, on bass, and another legend. Well, he's not originally from Louisville. Lawrence Lewis plays guitar, and then we have a young drummer,
Chucky Ducky.
Charles Anderson, a great drummer, and we, in looking for a bit. Now we've played with several musicians, you know, but we never could find musicians that could complement what we were doing or work as a team. So, but we enjoyed it anyway, you know. But I think we found a combination now that works for us. And so, the guys are great. And
So you're going to be playing as a 5-piece on?
Mm-hmm. 5-piece, yeah.
Great. So you say you played a lot of other musicians. Any other local Louisville musicians had an influence on your playing, or you really, you know, had a spark playing?
oh yeah, well, especially me. When I first moved here, I met a guy named Billy Clements. He plays guitar, and nobody would let me on the stage. I was still green, and but he allowed me to come on stage and play, and I've been playing ever since then. But Ramon Howard, Billy McLean, James Gant, Boogie Morton. There's so many. I can't even remember half of them, but I sat back and listened to these guys, and I'm from a small town in Indiana, and when I come down here, there was just this multitude of musicians. Oh my God, it was crazy, and so I learned a lot from a lot of guys, playing right here in town,
So where do you guys? I see the Groovemasterz play at Black Jockey Lands. Where are places you guys play around town?
Well, nowhere on a local basis. That's pretty much our home.
Right. That's what we can count on that one.
Yeah. But we played at Jazzy Blue. If you remember Jazzy Blue down on Main Street, we were the house band down there. We played with Maestro J and pretty much some of the guys that we have now in our band.
So you guys have been playing the five pieces playing together a while.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Great. So let me ask you, how would you describe the sound of the Groovemasterz? If you were asked, hey, what kind of music do you play? How would you describe the sound?
Progressive jazz type feel, soulful. We always trying to take it a little higher, so it's never going to be the same. It's just how we feel that night. Wouldn't you say that?
Just a potpourri of everything.
Because you named an array of a lot of different musicians
right,
coming at it from different kind of styles. So I was just wondering, when you sit down and you sort of start playing together, what sound comes out most often?
Well, most of it is. He might disagree, but most of it is sax-based music. Smooth jazz, R&B, and we kind of mix them all together.
Try to take some of the R&B songs and turn them into sort of jazzy cuts, and stuff you might hear on the radio, stuff like that,
Yeah.
We improvise a lot. We improvise a lot, and we just, just like, when we were young, I played in a 10-piece band playing sax, but we would just hear songs on the radio and make it what we wanted it to be,
Right.
So we do that now,
Right.
Isn't that what jazz always done?
Yeah.
Right. Just take it and do what we can do with it.
Yeah, and make it into your own.
Right.
Yeah. So what kind of audience members expect to hear on Sunday, October the 30th? What kind of gonna play some of your own tunes? Gonna play covers?
Probably play covers and some that we've turned into our own tunes. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, potpourri of different. We play organ jazz. We play smooth jazz. I don't know, contemporary jazz, hip hop jazz, or whatever the situation calls for. We can do it instrumentally. So we do have a singer, but he's probably strictly R&B. But he won't be there for this what we're doing coming up. But look for a good time.
Yeah, a good time. Just
Are you gonna be singing, Tony?
maybe.
Do you want him to? I'll make sure he does.
I was flipping through YouTube and I saw a video of you putting down sax and picking up the microphone.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
From time to time.
Yeah.
From time to time. Yeah. But we just like to have a good time. And when we see people having a good time, it takes you to another level. When they give it back to you, it makes you play hard and better. I mean, it puts you in a state of mind where, okay, we got him now.
Right.
And we just have a good time, man.
Great.
Well, one of the things I will say about Tony, he's multi-talented. There's not in this city that I know of, no one that can play sax like he does and sing as good as he plays sax, and so he's probably one of the, I'd probably say, one of the smoothest vocalists in the city that's on the stages right now, and he doubles as a singer and exactly. So that's a bonus for us. So we get a singer and a musician, instrumentalist all in one. So
Yeah.
We just have a good time, man. And it's, you know, it's nothing that when we play, we want you to be happy. We want you to say, oh yeah, okay. You know, we don't want to get totally analyzed, just, you know, picked apart.
Right.
But we just want to have fun. We want to have a good time, man. We want to take Anita Baker songs and turn them into jazz songs and, you know, stuff like that, you know.
Well, you're already close. It doesn't take much to push those over the edge.
Right. So
Great,
we just have a
great.
great time, man.
Well, I'm really looking forward to the show, and I know the board members are really looking forward to the show on Sunday. So I really thanks so much for sitting down and talking to us.
Okay,
And
yeah.
I think it's going to be a really grooving good time on Sunday, October 30th.
I think so, too.
Thanks for having us. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you.